So just a short word why we are focusing so much on impact. It's because our classical linear research of researchers producing some innovation and then hoping that somehow through advice or through other means this comes to the end users, the farmers or whoever will be using the results of research, that doesn't function very much. It takes a lot of time also, sometimes 20 years before you see the impact. And it's the researchers themselves who made a declaration that we should move to another model, which we call the interactive innovation model. Next slide. So that's why we focus on AGRI, because this reinforced AGRI integrates everybody involved in the knowledge and innovation system. And the trick is, why do we ask a strategic approach? Because we would like to see every part of the AGRI to connect with each other and ensure knowledge flows inside member states as well as across borders. But this should be done in a strategic way, so on a structured and regular basis, creating continuous interactions to speed up knowledge exchange and knowledge flows. Next. Well, those who know us know that we work with two sides, that we try to act in synergy under the EIP. And what from the 7 years period, or the 9 years period, I should say, we learn most is that it's not that easy for the two policy sides to find each other. We did our best with the EIP networks, who organized a lot of events, a website, newsletters, etc. We've now merged, by the way, into one big EU CAP network, also with the ENRD and the evaluation network. We have our knowledge reservoir, simple knowledge reservoir, 20 lines per project, just to explain what it is about, and mainly meant to connect people and to spread results. The strongest thing between the two policies is that Horizon multi-actor projects have an involvement to connect with operational groups. And that's why these knowledge reservoirs for practice are so important, so that both sides, whether it's an operational group who wants to know something from a multi-actor project, or vice versa, operational groups who search something on their subject, which might be already been worked on in a Horizon project, that they know from each other. So this is what we have been doing at EU level. So funding innovative projects on both sides where all the actors are involved. Next. According to this interactive innovation model, which you see there in the main box, we want to have not only researchers working, but the various actors to make the best use of their complementary types of knowledge. So coming from science, from practical, organizational science, information is useful. And we want to co-create, let them work together all along the project. And then comes the end where we come to knowledge reservoirs and quick spreading of the solutions and opportunities ready to implement into practice. So this all evolves around our big goal of quick impact. And there, I think our knowledge reservoirs, what we've been doing at EU level in the past, what you will be doing at national level, and what the FarmBook will be preparing at EU level comes in the picture. It's all about quick spreading of those solutions ready to implement into practice. Next. So just to share the brains that we have, not only our own brains, but use everything that you can borrow from somebody else and don't redo the work that has been done already. Next. So I have 3 main slides and the rest is additional. This is my main focus to explain, first of all, the objectives of our knowledge hubs and reservoirs and how they fit into this whole AGRI strategic approach. knowledge hubs or reservoirs or databases, whatever name you gave them, are collecting practical methods, approaches, practices which farmers, advisors, or any other end user in practice can immediately apply, are written in a language easy to understand and preferably in the native language. And this will be one of the main things that the EU Farm Book will change. If you compare it what we have been doing in the past, they will look to this translation in all languages. We're also very keen to have as much photos, videos, leaflets, short brochures, farmers who are sharing their experience in videos. Those are the things that are very popular and that are typical, very good, what our technicians, our IT guys call knowledge objects for practitioners. So in a knowledge reservoir, that's really, really very important to focus on that kind of material to share. It's not just digital. My second bullet is there to emphasize that it's all about linking actors, and this can be done digital, but often it works much more with physical events and peer-to-peer events, which are then based, one cannot work without the other, which are based on the information that is collected in the knowledge reservoirs. It's through what you learn from the knowledge reservoirs that our AGRI actors, our CAP networks, whoever is involved can build these physical events. Be aware that a knowledge reservoir for practice is not the same as collecting some good examples. Like in the past, we've done this on the NRN websites, on the, well, what will now be the National CAP Network website. We're still going to do that, but it is not equal. So it's something more. It's focusing on what you see in my first bullet, on these practical, attractive, easy to understand, native language, knowledge objects that practitioners like to look at and that are not too long to read. The attractiveness and visibility is very important. They should also be based on the latest practice and knowledge and scientists, and it should not be scientific abstracts. We have our own channels to work with scientific abstracts, and I can assure you, farmers surely do not, but I was for quite some time an advisor, and I hardly read a scientific abstract in my 10 years that I was an advisor, because it's just too long, and it's also sometimes very complicated. It explains the whole process, where in the end, practitioners are not interested. They just want to see the results and what they can use. The content of the reservoir should, of course, be impartial. It should not be meant to be used for commercial purposes. And we've seen reservoirs starting like that in some member states, but this is not what from the public side you would like to share. You don't want to make promotion for whatever a company should do for itself. Next slide. Now, the material, and this is a long bullet, the material can be used for many purposes. First of all, education, and I mean the full-time type of education, schools, colleges, even university, even for master or bachelor degrees. Also for vocational training of farmers, or for other end users of information. As I said, we're not only looking to farming, we're also looking for rural dwellers, or for social innovation, could be maybe people from the social sector learning something about care farming, for instance. So it can be used for informing advisors who are obligatory now integrated in the AGRI. It will upskill them to have all that latest knowledge. This is an obligation in our CAP now. It can be used for the continuous training, which is also obligatory under the CAP, under the new CAP, for preparing on-farm demonstrations, for any peer-to-peer events by or for practitioners, I am thinking of, for instance, for discussion groups and things like that, for supporting new entrants with a bit of basic information that they still lack because they're not from the sector. It can be used for discussion groups, also for drafting in agriculture journals. What we do in our EIP newsletter is exactly that. Pick out a few good examples of projects, put it in a nice way that it's easy to read, attractive, and that's what we put in our newsletters. This is things that you can also do at national level. You can use the material to inspire cross visits. Some of our countries have a dedicated intervention to pay for people to go abroad to learn from other countries new practices and techniques, to bring that back home and share it with their colleagues, with the farmers, use it for demonstration events, etc. You can inform innovation support services. They can get in good ideas, but maybe it's already solved somewhere else. So it's a good check for them to see if it's not already done before. Then you should not lose money to do it over again, unless you have another context and another geographical condition. But it's interesting to have that information. It can bring extra ideas in. We're also able to deliver, and we at EU level, for instance, our communication unit regularly asks things for the media. So also at your level, at national level, for social media or whatever agriculture media you have, if it's TV or radio or whatever, such info can be useful. So just in short, it's really a pillar for well-functioning AGRI and a strategic approach with good knowledge flows, where all the different actors that normally don't exchange, that they get informed on each other's actions. Then there's a particular thing that through this integration of farmers in the AGRI and the link that they have to make with advisors in the new CAP, these specialist advisors, which are close in contact with practice through the connection they have with their colleagues on the field, but also with science, not only with those scientists involved in operational groups, but with all scientists, in fact. They are ideal also to help fill and maintain this reservoir, because it's in fact almost part of their job. They will understand the right language to reach end users, and they can then, with that knowledge that they manage and that they master, let's say, can help any AGRI actor, and in particular the field advisors with it. We call those specialist advisors a back office, because they can help, in fact, anybody, even policymakers who want some practical information would be able to go to such a back office to get some further knowledge on a certain theme. And important, how can you fund it? There are several ways to fund it. You can use an operational group. For instance, Slovenia is making knowledge hubs with farmers, with advisors and researchers around a set of themes by an operational group of 12 million. You can also use a typical advisory intervention where you can set up new advisory services. That's under Article 78, or most probably, and I will confirm at the end of the meeting, because I'm still checking with the lawyers, but I already had positive first reactions, but they still will have a meeting on it today, but I hope by the end of our meeting to confirm. So most probably also technical assistance is a way to pay for this. Next. So not to forget, of course, what national CAP networks can do. So this knowledge and innovation strand of our CAP networks can play a real important role. They can help to collect material from stakeholders because they are in connection with them. They can do many physical or online events that can be organized thanks to them. And I've seen a number of countries where this works very well. The moment that somebody from the managing authority has something out of AGRI that is interesting, they involve their colleagues from the network, and the network constructs some kind of event around it. So I think they really can have a very good role, and everything can be based on what comes in this knowledge reservoir. Now, you're not alone for the task of developing such a knowledge reservoir. So I really would not like you to want to start from scratch. We already have all our EIP operational groups and Horizon multi-actor projects database on the EIP website. And we're in an intermediate phase because we have merged, as I said. So it will be integrated in the big CapWork network website. And in one of the last slides, you will see also the link, the new link to the CAP network website for the place where you can find the knowledge and innovation elements. Furthermore, and here is our big help from the Horizon side, we have 4 advisory networks with advisors from across the EU that are already running. We have 5 more published in the calls 2023-2024. We had a brokerage event, which was very successful a week ago, and more will be coming in the further calls of 25, 26, 27. And these EU advisory networks interconnect and share knowledge across the border, practice knowledge, together with also the outcomes of already over 43 thematic networks under Horizon, which are also continuing every year, even in 3 types now, bottom-up and thematic networks based on operational groups. So we have 3 topics of thematic networks. This will be continued, and what comes out of there will be ideal material to fill the knowledge reservoir. Not to forget what Patricia also said, we have many other multi-actor projects who also produce practice abstracts and material. So today we are here to seek synergies, to avoid double costs and overlapping work, and plenty material is already available to make use of it. And I'm looking to the time, we're 10:15 now. So next slides will go super quick. Just a quick picture to show you that what our operational groups are producing as material is around many subjects. You will get the slides, I suppose, and you will be able to take a look. So we go to the next slide. What we already have in stock now is more than 4,000 operational groups. They're not all yet in the database because in the former CAP, we didn't have the obligation to have them during their project already in the database, but in the future, we have adapted it. And as from the start, each operational group will be in the database. But from our annual implementation reports, we know that there will be already now more than 3,000 operational groups, and with the modifications of the 2 extra years, we will be going to about 4,000 operational groups. So plenty of material there. And then in our current CAP, in our next CAP, sorry, we will have 3 times more operational groups, meaning more and more information coming from that side. And you already heard that also from Horizon, where for the former period until 2020, we already spent €1 billion for multi-actor project. We will continue. So it's a growing and thriving network. Just another click, which needs to be managed. All this practice-oriented knowledge needs to be managed so that we don't drown in it, but that we can share and use it. Yeah, next. This already Patricia showed, but I'm just putting here this box around the new elements that have been added, citizens' concerns, vibrant rural areas, generation renewal, are all input now for our operational groups. Next. Yeah. And then we come with the farm book, which you will have more information on that. And for me, the most important is that it will be there ready to pick up all kind of materials, and that it will be multilingual and with a very good smart search filter. We on our EIP website, we have keywords, so you have to use the right keyword. And now with artificial intelligence, it's much more easy. You can have maybe for one thing 20 type of words that all lead you in the right way to the right place. Next. So it's all about using the ideas. That's important, and it's not going to happen by itself. One thing is to have that innovative knowledge, but to turn it into reality and to bring it to the end user, that's something else. And that's our challenge. For your information, we will discuss also the coordination of AGRI in a seminar on 14 and 15 June. I added it here on the slide in Vilnius. That will take place. Next. Just quickly from the regulation, where are the elements where knowledge hubs can help you in fulfilling the objectives that we have in the new CAP? First of all, under the modernization article 114, we say that advisors, researchers, and future AGRI, future CAP networks will work together. They have to work together, and typically their knowledge hubs are a very good tool to help them to work together. Also, advice needs to step up competencies. That's in Article 15. Innovation support becomes obligatory. So typically, again, their knowledge reservoirs or knowledge hubs will be helpful. Next. Then in the new approach for farm advice, we want all advisors to be integrated in the AGRIs. How will they know about what happens in the rest of the AGRIs? With knowledge reservoirs. That's the way of helping them, and helping them to cover now not only cross-compliance, like in the former FAS, but economic, environment, social dimensions, and deliver up-to-date technological and scientific information. Qualifying advisors is now an obligation. And also their innovation support is an obligation. Regular training is an obligation. And as I mentioned in my 3 main slides there, all this can be helped by knowledge hubs for practice. Next. I'm going to skip this just for sake of time. There are 2 main linked instruments for AGRIs, this back office I already told you about, and innovation support services. And again, I'm repeating myself, knowledge reservoirs are a very good help for this. Next. I don't want to forget the role of the CAP networks, and there it's very important to keep the inventory of operational groups and advisors up to date, because that helps to develop knowledge reservoirs and also to improve the quality of operational groups, so that you can find the right persons for operational groups and multi-actor projects to help each other. So this could be part of a knowledge reservoir, also adding the inventory of your advisors in your country, which is also an obligation. So the list of advisors with their expertise and their CV could be part of a knowledge reservoir. Next. Yeah, you can go next. This already Patricia spoke about, so we can skip also that. These projects are very much cooperating. I'm just wanting to close off because the whole AGRIs is something new, and people are having difficulties. It was on the top 1 of difficult things, for instance, when a study for CAP networks was made. And I would only say what Jean Monnet also said when Europe started in 1954, what stops us is the fear of change, but nevertheless, it's on change that our salvation depends. So we should really not be afraid and try to help each other as much as possible. And that's why this day is here. Next. And in particular on knowledge reservoirs, further on what Jean Monnet said, reflect very well on what you want. Don't hesitate to take time and to ask people, ask your target audience, ask your IT expert, discuss, analyze very well before you write a tender for a knowledge reservoir. I've been seeing all CAP plans and the AGRI is part of it. And the reason why we have this day today is because I noticed that there are a lot of knowledge reservoirs planned almost in a majority of the member states. But please don't be too hasty and look very well, because once you're into the IT process, it's very difficult to change. We had ourselves a lot of information. I have friends from several corners, whether it's from advisory or from ministries, where the analysis was not done well. And the moment you have to add something afterwards, it doesn't fit in anymore. So it's very important to discuss. And that's exactly what we're going to do this afternoon. So we can start here today, profit from the experience, profit from what the EU-FarmBook colleagues can help you. They already have 2 small projects after done, and this is now the big project where they will develop. So let's hope we have a nice day together, a useful day. Next. And that we can speed up creativity and practice application and better connect with each other and circulate information. Next. Thank you for your attention. If you need anything more, you can always reach me there. What you can't see on the screen is this link, but as I assume that the presentations will be shared, you can find the link there to the place on the CAP network where knowledge and innovation will further be shared in this, well, relatively simple knowledge reservoir with practice abstracts that we already have. And that's enough to make connections and contacts across the member states.